Welcome back to the Tea with JB. No, your video does not deceive you. Your girl is officially a brunette, which is crazy. I never thought I would ever go brunette ever again because I had a couple failed box diet attempts when I was in college, but I also was like the ugliest person in college ever. So I think just putting brown hair on an already unattractive person was like not the move. Like I needed all the help I could get. And I feel like when you're kind of ugly, blonde hair can help, but aesthetically I've figured out my face. So I feel like it was the appropriate time to dip my little toe into the brunette situation. And I will also say getting an actual hairstylist that knows like how to do color to fit your different tones on your face is key versus just being a dumb fucking idiot with some box dye in a dorm room, which is what I did. I was not smart. I still am not the brightest bulb in the box, but especially in college. But you could not, I honestly, that girl could have taken over the world because I was so fucking delusional. I had no idea just how ugly I was in college. Like I was probably 30 pounds heavier. I gained 30 pounds in just like no fucking time at all. Like you just put me in a Midwestern state in front of a lunch buffet that had unlimited fried foods and a bucket full of ranch. And I just had no breaks at all. Absolutely no breaks. And then unlimited Keystone Light. My dad's favorite saying is there's a sandwich in every beer. Well, if that is true, I had about 35 sandwiches a day, Monday through Sunday in college. And it showed. Like my face was so puffy. It was so bloated. And I was like, you know what I should do? Dye my hair brown. It wasn't a good look. But anyways, speaking of me and, my chunky ass, I have finally decided I'm giving in. I'm going, I guess I'm not giving in. I don't like to say that, but I am getting on tirzepatide. Should I say which medication it is? You know what? Fuck it. If you're going to come at me with whatever opinions you have, trying to tell me not to do it, try to tell me all these different things, I really don't give a fuck. I've made my decision. I have an amazing person I'm working with. I'm so excited with the person who I found because she really just put my mind at ease. And I've been doing so much research. I've been talking to so many people and something is just not right in my body. I actually missed last week's episode because I was on Prolon because it was like kind of my last ditch effort. I'm like, Prolon always really helps me reset my body. It's a 5-day fast. And the difference between Prolon and a bunch of other fasts is that you can like actually eat and they give you like bars and olives and the soups, the notorious soups. But I really like doing it because it gives you all the fasting benefits, but you don't have to like starve yourself, like who wants to fucking starve yourself? And I know there's people online. This one bitch, she loves to fucking test me. I probably should not even be saying this. She's kind of, I don't know how much I want to get into that. Do I want to get into it? Do I want to be messy? Do I want to be messy? Do I want to be messy? She just basically was like, she's literally had posted on about me being on Prolon, and literally within the hour, she already has a video queued up onto her fucking Instagram that's like things that influencers hawk that are not, or like that are full of crap. And I'm like, here we go. I just knew from the title of the fucking video that she posted that it was going to be talking about Prolon because she always does that. If she's not stealing my videos, she's talking shit about what I'm talking about. And it's honestly not worth my time because it's like a loser on loser crime. And if you guys even knew, like, anyways, she starts talking shit about Prolon. She's like, and by the way, okay, Jade, stay on topic. I keep like wanting to like throw in jabs and I'm just going to try to like stay as like non-jabby as possible. Her gripe with Prolon is that the food tastes like shit, which is fine. Like it's not for everyone. I don't think it tastes that bad. It's just not like that good either. But she said it doesn't work, and which is a fucking false statement. And then she tried to tell me that I need to do my research. I've been doing Prolon for like 4 years. I've done plenty of research. I've had so many meetings with their team. I've talked to, it was actually it was actually recommended to me by my friend who is a nutritionist, who is literally the pickiest bitch in the world. The other day she texted me and she said, you need to stop using fragrance. And I was like, no. And she's like, nothing smells as good as Skinny feels. That's the kind of bitch who is recommending Prolon to me. I'm going to trust her over your raggedy ass. And then this girl, not my nutritionist friend, the one that's like talking shit about Prolon, which is basically her just talking shit about me, because if we're supposed to be friends, I'm clearly like promoting this thing that I feel very passionately about, that I feel like has helped me so much. And then you go and start talking shit about it, saying that I am just like hawking crap. Like you're kind of just like taking a jab at me. And her solution that is better than Prolon is a 5-day owl Venice juice cleanse, broth cleanse, which is literally so much more expensive than Prolon, and it's just broth. And if you can do that, great. I personally don't even think this bitch has done it. But I just don't see the difference. I guess it's like same result, different ways to get there. And then her other recommendation was a juice cleanse, where she loses all credibility there, because everyone knows a juice cleanse just like spikes your fucking sugar. It's all the sugar from like fruits without any of the fiber. It's not a cleanse. It's just like literally drinking liquid for days, and it doesn't really do anything for you. I've done it. Actually, I've been more sick on a juice cleanse than I ever have from Prolon. My only gripe with Prolon is that it's boring when you're somebody who's like hyper fixated on food. But back to this dumb bitch. Then she starts going back and forth in the comments with me, and I'm just like, what are you getting out of this? Then a couple other things that she started dogging on. Poppy. I always post about Poppy. I love Poppy. She said that it's not supposed to be like, it's a fake probiotic, prebiotic drink. That's not why anyone's drinking Poppy. No one is drinking Poppy because they think it's going to make them skinny. People are drinking Poppy because it's better than Coca-Cola or Mountain Dew. Okay. Nobody's drinking Poppy thinking that they're going to wake up with a flat stomach. Anyways, she's just like, you can tell she's kind of one of those people that she's going through it. So it's not a personal thing. It's a loser on loser crime and whatever. But anyway, speaking of real losers, can you believe Vanderpump Rules as we know is donezo, in the words of Kristen Cavallari, because they have just announced that they are renewing the show, but they are doing an all new cast. And this just like hits me to my core, because not because I'm going to like miss the show based on how it's going, but because like Vanderpump Rules is like just a show that I love so deeply, so deeply. It has seen me through so many different times of my life. Like when I was moving in with my first, boy that I ever lived with, I remember like having to fight for the fucking TV to watch Vanderpump Rules. And I remember like planning a wedding and Vanderpump Rules was going on. And I remember when Sheena Shea was going through her shit with her drug addict ex-husband, I was going through shit with my drug addict ex-husband. I remember when Katie was getting married, I was getting married. I remember when they all started getting divorced, I started getting divorced. It just like, it really, like I grew up with them. Like we were all, I'm the same age as Stassi. So I like feel like I kind of grew up through my 20s with the Vanderpump Rules kids. And which is really like, I don't know what that says about me. And fun fact, so I have always been a Housewives fan I've said this before, it's like I'm such a broken record, but I am an early adopter of the Housewives. I remember watching it in 2007, Real Housewives of Orange County. I'll never forget falling in love with Victoria Gunvalson when she was screaming, "Who orders a little family fan?" Like that is just, I can just get like, I'm so nostalgic over these shows. But some people have the Marvel universe. Some people have, A Court of Thorn and Roses. Some people have Harry Potter. I have the Bravo universe. And it's not the way, like, I'm not a Bravo fan in the way, like, I'm not going to BravoCon unless they invite me to like, interview the cast and stuff. I see myself as more of like a Jerry O'Connell fan, where it's like I'm in it, but I'm not under it. I feel like there's a lot of fans, like they get too involved in it. Like all these Bravo accounts, like Bravo Batch and blah, blah, blah. Like I just like to kind of like have my fun with them and then leave, you know? I like my housewives. I like my Bravo people where I can see them on my screen. I'm not trying to be best friends with any of them. And I like, it's fun and light and campy. I'm a different fan than these fans that are like, I fucking hate these people. They have all these hatred and they get too involved with them. They can't see it for what it is. It's just a light, fun, fluffy show. Anyways, I digress. But so when Vanderpump Rules came on my screen in 2012, it was the first time that I just was like so in love with a non-housewife show, because up until that point, I was obsessed with OC, New York, New Jersey, Beverly Hills, Atlanta, Miami. And then Vanderpump Rules came along and I was like, oh my God, these people are my age. And there's been other shows on Bravo that were people around my age, like Gallery Girls and Long Island Princesses. And I love those shows, but they were like one season wonders, which is just like such a fucking mistake. I wish they would have kept going with Gallery Girls and Long Island Princesses. Those two shows I loved so much. I'm literally going on such a tangent here, but when Vanderpump Rules was just so different because they was so chaotically messy and it felt so familiar. Like if you've ever worked in any sort of like service industry job, these are the people you're working with. Like the service industry just brings out this psychotic, insane part of you that like you don't even know lives in there. And if you're already like an unwell person like Jax Taylor, the service industry will just spike that up to the moon. So I will never forget that first season watching it. And fun fact, my friend group in Orange County, there was always this like guy who would come hang out with us, and he was like always had some sort of business, like he was opening a sandwich shop or something, and he like acted like he had all this status and money. And at this point we're like 23, 24, so like I didn't know my asshole from my vagina at that point. But this guy was like talking a big game, but it just like didn't add up to even me. And I'll never forget, he moved to LA and people are like, oh yeah, this guy moved to LA, whatever. And then we got word that he was going to be on a Bravo show. And at this point, like, you know, Bravo was a completely different thing back then. I was kind of one of the youngest people I knew watching Bravo. It was definitely not like a young person's network. And I remember one of my friends was like, Frank is going to be on Vanderpump Rules. And I was like, what is Frank going to do on Vanderpump Rules? And what is Vanderpump Rules? Like, it's Lisa Vanderpump's show. And they're like, yeah, Lisa Vanderpump's having a spinoff. It's called Vanderpump Rules. And I was like, okay. And also I want to know how you guys interpreted the name Vanderpump Rules. Cause I was like, okay, Vanderpump Rules, like she has rules, but it really, I think, now that I'm older and my frontal lobe is developed, I think it means like Vanderpump rules, like she rules the land. Anyways, I was like, this is going to be interesting. Like I had no idea how this show was even going to pan out. And then the first season, it was like 10 episodes. It was so juicy and quick. And Frank ended up being like a main fucked up cast member in that first season. I mean, he's kind of the reason why like the biggest fight emerged between the whole crew when it all went down in Vegas for Stassi's birthday. And, you know, she like slapped Katie, or who did she hit? They were all hitting each other. Jax had the sweater and he took it off in the parking lot, the strip parking lot, which is so funny. Like you go all the way to Vegas for your birthday, but then you have your birthday dinner in a strip mall. That's so Vanderpump Rules. It's literally so Vanderpump Rules to do that. But so that was like very funny. But going back to like, you know, my love with Vanderpump Rules, there's just so many lines in that show that really like stand out to me. One of my favorite ones, Laura Lee, when she's in front of So Laura Lee and Jack's first season, she is a recovering alcoholic. He starts dating her after him and Stassi break up. And this woman is clearly unwell. Okay. Like so unwell. And he is just playing with fire by dating this person. And then he breaks up with her right directly after an AA meeting, after she gets done sharing her story on camera. And then she goes to the restaurant, and what does she say? She said it was in front of Paige. Hold on, I have to look this up. He's been inside of me without protection. She says that in front of it was just like the without protection. That is just such an iconic line. We also have, I don't know what I've done to you, but I'll take a Pinot Grigio. Like, have that tattooed on my forehead. I don't know what I've done to you, but I'll take a Pinot Grigio. That needs to go on my gravestone. It's just, how did that come out of her mouth? I am the devil. Don't you forget it. I'm the number one guy in this group. It's not about the pasta. You're so obtuse, Tom. It's just, there's so rotten hail. Like, we've just seen so many different, I've just gone through so much shit with these people, and it's so crazy. But like, the show was on its way out, unfortunately. It started to suck. Lala, she was such a good addition to the show. I remember she drove me nuts when she was first on the show, because her and James were just so like cocky, and like it felt like they were just trying to rile everyone up for the show. And then I grew to really, really like Lala. And then this last season, I could not get behind her. It just felt like she was like seething with jealousy with Ariana. I did not understand where she was coming from. I don't think she really pled a good case for herself in that way. And it ultimately, I think it is part of the reason why it led to the demise of the show, unfortunately, which sucks. And then I just don't know what Sheena's going to do. I mean, she has her podcast, so I just wish them all well. In tandem with that, Schwartz and Sandy's closed, which is like, who did not see that coming? I don't like to see this close, though. I feel like a lot of people are like dancing on their grave. A, I feel like that's really bad karma. B, I wanted them to prove us wrong. I actually think that the concept was kind of a cool idea. I think they put way too much fucking money into it. I liked their design aesthetic. I just think these two are just not smart enough, and they needed to like really listen to their partners. And I just don't think they're capable of that. I think that's why Lisa Vanderpump gave them both, like, didn't they share 5%? Like 2.5% each? Like, that's so Tom and Tom. Like, I think she knew that's how much they were worth. Like, it was like kind of a licensing deal. And it's so funny to me. It's very interesting because Vanderpump Rules has been, I think there's like two kind of tiers of show on Bravo. There's like the Housewives. They're obviously like the number one show on Bravo is the Housewives. Like, you want to be on a Housewives franchise if like you're that kind of person that wants to be on TV. And then there's like, you know, the Below Deck, the Southern Charm. Well, yeah, it's like, then there's like the younger kind of crew. I think Below Deck is kind of its own thing. It's its own franchise. I used to watch Below Deck, but I can't be bothered with, like, I can't have so many shows on my plate. But then there's like this young, I guess, young category of Bravo shows. And it's like Southern Charm, Summer House, Vanderpump Rules. And I think out of all these people, Vanderpump Rules has been on the show, on the air the longest. And my God, you would never know that from the way these people dress, the way they live. I think we just now started seeing people actually show that they had some sort of money last season. And it was when Ariana I guess Ariana got all that money from Scandival. But to me, it's like, you see Southern Charm. You see how all these people have taken their celebrity and kind of turned that into a business. Like Craig, he's an investor in different businesses. He has his own business, whether he runs it or not, who fucking cares? It seems very successful. It just seems very like it's running very smoothly. You see Madison LaCroix. She like has, had a complete glow. I fucking love Madison. I cannot wait for Southern Charm. But like, you just see, like, that's what I would look like if I was on TV for as long as she was on TV. And it didn't take her but a season to have like a complete style glow up. Vanderpump Rules, these kids, it took them forever. They have literally never gotten it right. I will say it. I've said it before. I'll say it again. There are people who have been on TikTok for 2-3 years that are living in nicer homes than the Vanderpump Rules cast is. And I don't understand why, because Vanderpump Rules, they're getting money from the show and they're getting money from social media. And something is just not adding up there for me. You know, it just doesn't make sense. And it's not that I think that they're smart with their money. That I don't think that they're just like not spending their money because they're smart with it. I think there's something else there. And why is Stassi the only one who has kind of turned her shit into a real business? And now you're probably like yelling at your whatever you're listening to me on right now, saying, well, what about something about her? What about something about her? Like, what? I literally went on to something about her. Is this thing even open? I've not seen one person talk about something about her. It says it's open Wednesday through Sunday, 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. Next time I'm in LA, I need to like take a stop by, but they don't ever post on Instagram. They've basically been posting once a month. They posted November 7th, October 10th, October 1st, July 21st, July 12th, July 5th. Like this is a huge, they have 441,000 followers and you're posting that much. Like, what a waste. I really don't understand the trajectory of something about her. It doesn't seem like really either of them is fully in it, which is, again, why don't they take a partner who has like majority stake, who will run it and operate it and whatever, and then you two just like be the face of it and like actually be the face of it. But what the fuck do I know? Schwartz and Sandy's, again, that one kind of failed. I guess Sheena has her podcast. Lala has her podcast. But like Stassi was so smart being so early to the game with her podcast. I remember, so I had this company with one of my best friends, and it was a sorority apparel company, and we had a heat press in her garage, and we called it the sweatshop because it was literally so fucking hot in her garage, and we'd literally be sweating our asses off just heat pressing all these shirts for sorority girls. And I was so bored in there. And so I remember Stassi posting about her podcast, and this is like 2013 maybe, and I would go to, like, I didn't even have the podcast app on my phone. I'm sure I had it on my phone, but I didn't know how to use it. So I had to like play it off of a web browser, and then I had to keep tapping the phone to make sure it'd stay on, because every time the phone would, I don't know. I could have like figured out how to lock the screen open, but I couldn't figure that out at that time. And then that's when Jackie Schimmel was on her podcast, and then I was introduced to Jackie Schimmel's podcast. Then Lauren and Michael Bostic were on Jackie Schimmel's podcast. Back in the day, it was just like, I don't even think they were living together at that point, or maybe they had just moved in together because they just got engaged, and they were on Jackie Schimmel's podcast, and that's how I found The Skinny Confidential. And so I don't know, Stassi like literally was the very first podcast I ever listened to, and I remember being like, oh my God, I want a podcast like this. Like, I could do this, I could talk. And if only I just started it that long ago, so we'd be in much different position. But you know, no regrets. Anyway, still drinking my sucralose, which I'm planning on stopping. But I don't like, I'm only really do it. No, don't lie to them. I need to stop drinking Celsius, but I just love it so much. Okay, let's go to some more pop culture news. Okay, Wicked is finally out. I don't know. I have actually no fucking idea what the Wicked story was even about. Like, I understood it was Glinda and the Wicked Witch of the West, right? The Wicked Witch of the West, because they kill the Wicked Witch of the East with the house in the Wizard of Oz. I knew it was connected to the Wizard of Oz, but I didn't know the actual story. But I've been watching TikToks that have been like explaining the story, and I'm kind of like into it. I've been holding space for all the songs, you know, Defying Gravity and all of that. And I'm just like, at first I was like, I need some digital space between me and Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo, because their press tour has just been a lot. Lots of hand holding, lots of soft talking, lots of very like, you know, a Glinda-esque voice. But now that I'm seeing clips of the movie emerge, I'm like, okay, she is kind of like a method actor, right? Like she's really acting like Glinda, which I mean, who can fault her for that? And you know what? I'm sold. It worked on me. John Stamos put on a bald cap to support Dave Coulier in his cancer journey, which is literally so me. Like I would be doing the bare minimum just like that. Like I'm putting on a bald cap instead of actually shaving my head. Love that for him. Okay, what else did I want to talk about today? Okay, Real Housewives of Beverly Hills is back, and I had very low hopes for this season because last season was kind of a snooze fest for me. I feel like we left with like a lot of unanswered questions. It felt like Kyle, I love Kyle. She's such a good housewife. She's such an iconic housewife, but I just feel like I wasn't getting a lot from her, and it felt like kind of not authentic. My ear itches. But I think Dorit saw that and she fucking took the ball and ran it down the field, if that's even the correct analogy there. Because we started off the episode hot at Pacific Design Center. Erica and Dorit are looking at all these like really expensive, boring looking knickknacks. Like when they were looking at that like little box that was like $6,700, I'm like, who would buy a box like that for $6,700? Like it's very uninteresting. It's very bland. It's just like rich people. They just like, I think it's just there for rich people's designers to like fill space in their homes. Like, why don't you go on a trip and find something more interesting? Anyways, Dorit looked fucking amazing. Her hair color is so good. I love that she's gone away from like that super blonde look. Maybe I was inspired by her. And everything she wears just like really complements her skin and like her eyes. And it's just like, you know, color theory, I guess, is a thing. That one confessional look where she's wearing that like printed mesh shirt, it just looks so good on her. And like she had those like corally nails, everything just complements her so well. She looks fucking amazing. Are they all on Ozempic? Like literally, they all look like they're on Ozempic. Like honestly, after I saw the episode, I was like, it's time. Like I need to just pull the fucking trigger on tirzepatide. Like what? Why have I been waiting so long? I'm literally miserable. I'm literally exercising. I'm not only just like, I'm weighing my fucking food, okay? And I'm getting fatter. So tirzepatide, please come save me. I love that Dorit, like right away, she's like, PK and I are getting a separation. I loved seeing Erica actually show emotion, because if you remember when Erica first got on the show, she like had no girlfriends. She was just like a lone girly with like a bunch of gays around her. And I think that finally now, after her going through her divorce and everything, and like having the girls be there for her and like really show her like what a real friend is, I feel like Erica is finally like softening up, and I just like love seeing her be a girly. And I think the way she's handled like the Dorit versus Kyle thing, that is, women need to take notes, because I feel like a lot of women have a hard time in groups of women, and it doesn't really have to be that hard as long as you're like openly communicating and you're not being like a backstabby little bitch, which I feel like Erica was doing a great job at. She was telling, you know, Dorit, like, I'm about to go see Kyle. What do you want me to say to her? And she said, don't tell her anything yet. Then once the news broke, Erica told Kyle, like, hey, like, I actually knew this. What do you want? Like, I just feel like she handles it very well. One thing that I really, and you know, I've always kind of been on Kyle's side throughout the entire series. Your husband will never emotionally fulfill you. Know that. Like, I always just feel like she's been on usually the right side of history. I didn't like when her and Kim were kind of bullying Brandy back in the day at that one party. At least I don't do crystal meth in the bathroom, bitch. I thought that was kind of rude because they were like hiding her crutches from her. But I feel like it was like a rare moment where her and Kim weren't fighting. And it's almost like she kind of like fed into it a little bit and they kind of came across mean girly. But other than that, I mean, I'm sure there's other things I could, you know, pick up that Kyle hasn't been on the right history for. But I will say, all in all, I'm on Kyle's side. But I did not like the way she's handling the Dorit situation. And I'm sure there's more to the story, but I hate when people say we weren't even that good of friends. It's like when men say like we weren't even dating. It just feels so gaslighty, and it feels like it forces the other person, it makes the other person feel stupid. Number one. And number two, it just reduces a connection that you have with someone down to like it meant nothing. And did it really mean nothing? Or are you just saying it meant nothing? Because like, yeah, maybe they only went on like a couple of vacations. Maybe they only did like a few lunches, but they're on a show together. And I think that's like kind of like an unspoken thing in the room that really bonds you with somebody. They probably talk all the time, and I'm sure they really did feel like best friends, but like in Kyle's grand scheme of friendships, like she has really lifelong friendships, I guess, but I just think it's really rude to discredit her and Dorit's friendship. Like, it honestly feels like an abusive boyfriend. I kind of got triggered when she said that. I also think that when she keeps bringing up, my dog is barking. Did you hear that? When she brings up the BravoCon incident, when Andy asked Dorit to rank the Richards sisters, and then Kyle accidentally spills on Dorit, and Dorit goes, oh, well, Kyle last, Kathy first, just joking because Kyle had literally just spilled on her. And then now Kyle's making that a thing. Like, that is so something that Kyle would do, because Kyle has that very like playful banter, and it just feels like something is like fishy there. And I feel like they're almost too similar. They're so similar and so yet so different, and I feel like they get on each other's nerves. And I feel like Erica is so on point when she's saying there was just a bunch of little things that have added up, and like now it's like a huge thing. And she said, and again, Erica, like, I've been really loving her, which I kind of turned on her for a few seasons, but when she said, I could say that they're little things, but to them it's a big thing. And that I think is important to note as a friend. Like, you can say till you're blue in the face that these are all just little things, you should get over it, but like to them it really is a big thing. I thought it was very interesting that Dorit goes over to Kathy Hilton's house when she is feuding very publicly with Kathy's sister. And that is just so Kathy. That is so Kathy. She's, we love Kathy. She's kind of like our little comedian, who is hunky dory. And I just think like if Kyle was doing that, Kathy, like it would be a big fucking deal. But it was so fucking funny. Dorit walks into Kathy Hilton's house. You're like, is this person on hospice? It literally looks like they're walking into a hospital room, and like she's clutching this bottle of Aquaphor, and it's her getting glam. And it's just like, you have to see the scene. You'll see what I'm like talking about. But that was very interesting to me. And then of course we end at Sutton's party, the surrealism party, which, like, by the way, the fucking theme surrealism, it's just like a very wild thing. The way that Sutton was criticizing Dorit's look not being surrealism when all she did was put on a fucking pair of antlers, like that, it's just ridiculous. And then Kyle showed up looking like a Pinterest deer, you know, like the girls who do like the cute hairstyle with like the antlers and then they do like the little spots on their face. Like that's what Kyle looked like at the party. And then we kind of see the start of a fight between her and Dorit. And so I think that's going to be the theme of the season. And that should be interesting. Now, this is a very Bravo heavy episode. I'm sorry if you don't like Bravo, but like that's just like what I love, you know. Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, it just continues to be the best Housewives franchise on at the time. Like it's just so fucking good. I have had a complete renaissance with Mary Cosby. She's one of like, I just didn't think Mary had it in her to be like a real like deep person, but watching her and her son, I have such a pit for her and it makes me love Mary so much. She's so worried about her son and I'm worried about her son. Like I'm like, get this guy some help. She's doing the best she can. You're like, I just feel for Mary so much. And then at that party, obviously Mary's under so much pressure right now. She feels so like, I can't imagine having a child that you know is going through something like some sort of substance abuse and you can't really do anything about it. And feeling like so helpless and there's only so much you can do there. And so, oh my God, Mary's having this Audrey Hepburn party. By the way, Bronwyn shows up. She looks exactly like Audrey Hepburn. She looks so fucking good. That butter yellow dress. Bronwyn, I don't really love a lot of her looks, I'll be honest, but I really loved this look on her. She absolutely nailed it. The fake bangs were by far the best fake bangs. Whitney Rose with the headband. Whitney Rose needs a stylist. I would love Whitney Rose to get a stylist. Heather, boring. It like just, she came in, Heather's, we'll get to Heather. And then Meredith comes in looking like Jim Carrey in Dumb and Dumber. Like what the fuck were those bangs? Like who did that to Meredith? Did I say Mary? I meant Meredith. She looks absolutely ridiculous. And then I loved Lisa Barlow showing up in that Gucci jumpsuit and then Mary being so pissed about it. Like that's what I love. I love them. The dynamics are so good. They feel very authentic. And I don't understand Heather Gay's anger towards Bronwyn. Like something just doesn't add up to me. And here's my thing with Housewives. Like I love the Housewives and I have enough like intelligence and wits about me to know that you can love a housewife and they can have a bad season and that's okay. Like Heather Gay, I love her. She's not having a good season for me personally. Like I'm not on her side, but I still like watching her and I'm still like invested in her. Then there's other housewives like Tamara where I'm just like, I do not fuck with that kind of person. Like I don't even like watching it on TV. She's constantly screaming. She's constantly being so hypocritical. But like a Heather Gay, I'm like, she's just having a bad season and we have to ride it out. Okay. Like the anger for Bronwyn, just, it feels so, like we're missing a huge chunk of it. Like they're not showing, what they're showing is not adding up to that level of anger. And when she was like trying to call Bronwyn out for sitting in first class with Todd and like Bronwyn was like, yeah, because it was on my credit card, which I'm interested to know, was it on Bronwyn's credit card? Because I feel like it'd be on production's credit card. I mean, maybe they like paid her back. I have no idea, but that really shut Heather the fuck up because Heather, it really is none of Heather's business whether Bronwyn flies first class or not. And it really wasn't that big of a deal that they took the 2 first class seats and everyone else flew coach. It was like a 90-minute flight. Like who fucking cares? Even being in first class for 90 minutes, it doesn't matter. But I mean, I loved Lisa Barlow throwing a fit about it. Like I just like the Housewives for all their quirks like that. I thought it was interesting how the party just like took a complete turn from Heather to like Heather versus Bronwyn to like Meredith and Angie. And then Mary very clearly, she's under a lot of stress. And she said, get out of my house if you can't listen to me. which is probably not how I would have phrased that, but like she was clearly like in the moment trying to get their attention. And then of course Meredith takes it a whole different direction, and now she's mad at Mary, and now we're gonna have to deal with that conflict. Like I don't want to see that. Like I just don't care about that. Okay, well, I guess it's, oh my gosh, it's almost Thanksgiving. If by the time you guys are listening to this, you'll probably be either at home or on your way home. Maybe, the holiday seasons are, it's like a tough time. I'm not like the biggest holiday girly. If I'm being honest, like it gives me a lot of fucking anxiety. I think there's just like a lot of money to be spent. It's a lot of like family time. It's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of like trying to be a million places at once. It's a lot of like parties. It can be also a lot of FOMO. If you're someone like me, I suffer from FOMO and just seeing people like hanging out without me, even though I don't really want to go, it just like makes me feel some type of way. So if you're going through that too, like, even I go through that. I also think that when you're single around the holidays, it's like another kind of level. Like, and here's my advice. Like, if you are single during the holidays and you're feeling super lonely, I feel you. I was in a relationship my whole 20s, and I was like that annoying person that's like, when you stop looking, it will find you. Like, don't you just want to fucking slap me in the face for saying that? And I just thought it was like so easy. You just like find a boyfriend. Like, why aren't you guys finding boyfriends? A, your mission in life is not to find a boyfriend. And B, like, it's not that easy. Men are fucking shitty as fuck. I need to stop cursing so much because when I use these clips, I have to bleep them out, and I'm just like bleeping every other word. But anyways, when you are single, what was I saying? Land the plane. Oh, my dating trajectory. Okay, so then I got a divorce like a week after I turned 30, and then I got just a slap in the face of what it's like to be single in your 30s. And it's so fucking different. If you are somebody who has been with your partner like all of your 20s, if you've never dated in your late 20s or your 30s, like just shut the fuck up. No one really wants your advice. Okay. That's what I wish I could tell my friends, because I remember I'd like be just like kind of venting to my friends, and they would always have something to say. And I'd be like, I'm actually not interested in your advice, because when you were going through dating issues with your boyfriend, A, your frontal lobe wasn't even formed yet. B, you two were so fucking stupid because you were in your early 20s and you were probably getting in drunk fights. Like, that's not what I'm dealing with. I'm dealing with literal grown men who can't act like an adult. Like, it's just so different. But of course, married people always think that they know everything. Just know that they don't. And I quickly learned that. I was like, oh my God, I was so wrong about everything. It is fucking hard out here. But a couple of pieces of advice from me to you is, if you're struggling during the holidays and if you're like single, or just like, if you're single, I think that my number one tool is just to disassociate and just know it's gonna be over soon enough. And you don't want to like scramble into a relationship with somebody just to be in a relationship with somebody unless you are in control. I feel like there's two different types of like getting through the times with a man relationships. Like, if you're just like going through the motions and you actually like the guy, but you can tell like it's not going anywhere, I would run the fuck away from that relationship. But on the other hand, if you don't really give a fuck about the guy, but they're just fun to hang out with, then I would just ride that wave right through January, and then, January 7th, break up with them. And also realize like, it's really like, who fucking cares? Men come and go. The thing I would really invest in is really solid girlfriends, because like those are the people that are going to have your back when shit just fucking crumbles. Even now, like, I love Mr. Roberts so much. He's the best person in the world, but I have that like PTSD, like shit could crumble at any second, like you got to like look out for yourself. So I don't know where that came from, but anyways, happy Thanksgiving. I hope that my Ozempic gets in. It's not Ozempic, it's tirzepatide. I think my tirzepatide's getting here on Monday, so I can't wait to tell you guys all about that. I'm really excited about it. Everyone is raving about it. they have nothing but good things to say. I'm like so excited for this inflammation to be gone. I'm excited to feel like my old self again. I'm excited to get dressed and not want to fucking kill someone. And so that's that. Happy Thanksgiving. Bye.